the history of the DC Cinematic Universe, or the DCEU, whatever it is they're calling it, it has gone from a mild curiosity, rubbernecker syndrome of watching just a slow motion train wreck, that same mixture of fascination and horror, to something that is just downright baffling and heartbreaking. As we have watched over the last couple months as DC and Warner Brothers has just been crumbling to dust right before our eyes. And it has gone from a minor curiosity to just complete and utter shock as to just how far this has all fallen and how fast it all has. It's just bad idea after bad idea. And I know everybody thinks that the Honey Boo Boo guy that they brought in to right the ship is now somehow their fucking savior, but I would not hold my breath on that, folks. And I'm honest when I say I have not been a big fan of the DC product in terms of film adaptation from Man of Steel on. I just have not. It has not worked for me. Even the Snyder Cut, which some people are claiming is the greatest superhero movie ever made, I give you your opinion. You are entitled to it, but I cannot personally agree with said opinion. But I bring that up to kind of say that it brings me absolutely no joy to see what has been going on over there and see things like, Aquaman 2 getting pushed back or delayed, the whole shit with what's going on with the Flash, that whole drama, the canceling of the Batgirl film, which I will be honest, I was not really looking forward to, but it was going to be a return of Brendan Fraser, which everybody is looking forward to, right? I mean, everybody loves Brendan Fraser, and we all want him back. We all want that lovable big brother uncle character back. I love Brendan Fraser. Who doesn't? It was going to be, I think, and if I'm misspeaking here, please tell me, I think it was going to be the first time a Hispanic actor was headlining a superhero movie. That's huge. That was fucking huge. And listening to the directors talk, it really did feel like they cared really deeply about the project. It didn't feel like just one of their quick cash in, quick make this with people who have no concept or love for the characters or the world. Just get it out, make it look different, make it dark and gritty. It seemed like they really cared with what they were doing and were truly heartbroken when the plug got pulled. So I think we really did lose something. I don't know if the movie would have been any good, but I feel like there was a lot of good stuff to be had in it, even if it turned out to be a bomb. So I give all this as context, so when people ask me, why did you review the League of Super Pets? It's like, because it's kind of the only thing DC's got going on. I mean, you're going to get Black Adam here soon, and I think Captain Marvel, Shazam, is still scheduled for release in November or December, I think, but, you don't know. You just don't know these days. So this is kind of the only thing DC kind of has right now to put out and try to salvage some of this. And if that's the case, I will say I think that this is a good one for them to put out. Actually, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I was not expecting to. Again, bright sunny day out, gonna have some glare, gonna try to avoid it, sorry. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this movie to the extent that I did. But I thought it was pretty fun and even surprisingly funny and entertaining in a lot of areas. So, real quick, what is it about? Well, it's the secret life of pets, but with DC characters, is essentially what you're looking at here. So the story focuses on Superman's dog, Krypto the super dog, which is a real thing. If you're not a comic books fan, yes, Krypto is canon. You know, he's been seen in live action before too. So yes, Krypto is a thing. In this case, voiced by, of course, Dwayne Johnson, because we need Dwayne Johnson in every movie. Or every fifth movie. It's a contractual Hollywood law at this point. Who is disheartened when he finds out that his owner, Superman, is planning to get married on Lois Lane. He has the Lady and the Tramp syndrome of fearing that that's going to mean Superman's going to forget about him. Through wacky happenstance, Lex Luthor is attempting to harness orange kryptonite to give himself superpowers. Instead, an evil guinea pig by the name of Lulu, voiced by Kate McKinnon, who was a test animal at Luthor Labs, gets a hold of it, gets superpowers, and also grants superpowers to a bunch of other animals at the local shelter, including Ace, Ace the Hound, a pig, a squirrel, and a turtle. And they all get various superpowers, and they must team up with Krypto to stop the evil guinea pig and save Superman and the rest of the Justice League. So, like I say, it's the secret lives of pets, but done with DC characters. And honestly, it's pretty fucking great. It's pretty fucking enjoyable. And I'm trying not to harp on this, but I feel like as I was watching this, what kind of clicked for me, it's like, why am I loving this so much? Why is this so much fun? And I realized why, and it's that last word, fun. One of the problems I have had personally with DC, and this is not just their movies, this is their comics as well in recent years, is that they have really, really, really tried to push the dark. Like, they want everything dark, brooding, sepia tone, you know. It feels like almost like we're back in the 90s. I read a series of Batman comics for a while, detective comics for a little while, because it featured Tim Drake, my favorite comic book character. And just what they were doing with it, fuck, man. It felt like being back in the 90s where everything was grim and gritty, and you can't have superheroes smiling, and don't you dare have any fun. No, this is serious. These movies about men and women in ridiculous costumes fighting bad guys, that's serious, super serious. These characters are all sad and lonely and depressed, and everything is horrible. Don't you dare have a good time. And that mentality has been so ingrained in the DC DNA recently that is everything they do. I mean, look at that Batman movie from earlier in the year. And I know some people really loved it, but it was so fucking just depressing. You know? And the thing I have often said has been one of the strengths Marvel has over DC in terms of its film unit is that the Marvel films are fun. And you can still tell good stories. You can still tell emotionally driven stories. You can still have characters with psychological issues and emotional issues and all sorts of issues, and still not forget that these were originally books for kids. That we fell in love with them as kids. Marvel has never shown away or tried to hide the fact that this is a comic book. And I think, honestly, that's where a lot of fans of the genre, so-called fans, where they've been having some trouble lately when something silly like She-Hulk comes out. It's like, what? She's twerking? That is terrible! How dare you! Keep in mind, these are probably the same people who thought Deadpool was the height of humor. Alright? Because anything that takes away from the seriousness of the characters, you know? And this movie is fucking fun. It's colorful. It's bright. The characters are making jokes. And it still has a great several great action sequences. It still has likable characters. It still has an emotional through line, which I don't think was the strongest, but it was still decent. You know, it still worked. And it didn't have to get all grim and depressing and, you know, sorrowful. It was just a blast to watch. It's a kid's movie. It's a movie you can take your kids to. Ha ha, look at the funny pig. You know, can we get more of that back in DC, wherever it ends up, whatever happens to this franchise? Even, I've been watching the Titans show on HBO Max recently, which is a good show. But even that is a dark, you know, brooding deconstruction of how fucked up the concept of a teenage superhero actually is. You know, it's a good show, but Jesus, a smile now and then wouldn't hurt. So I feel like this is becoming more of a deconstruction of the DC cinematic universe than it is of this movie. But again, there's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to this movie. It's exactly what it says on the box. And they have so much fun with the premise. So much so, I want some of these characters to become canon. You know, Krypto the Superdog, Ace the Bat Hound, they are. Like, they exist in the comics and have for years. But I want to see Wonder Woman have a pet pig that can change size. I want the Flash to have a super speed turtle as a pet. Like, I want the gang of evil guinea pigs to be a thing, to be an honest to God thing, because they were hysterical and awesome. I want Whiskers the evil kitten, who I believe is River's spirit animal. I want that to be a thing so bad. In the comics, make it canon, people. Make it happen. And I do think a lot of the humor is actually pretty good. There's some good jokes in there. That there were a couple that actually made me laugh out loud. Again, the superpowered hamsters, or guinea pigs, I should say, were fucking hysterical. Loved them. I love that they're doing a news report about the battle that the pets are watching, and they're having a conversation. In the background, you see on the news report that the little title scroll along the bottom says, "That escalated quickly." I laughed my ass off at that. I thought that was just, I don't know why, I just thought that was really, really funny. So yeah, and of course, you know, just being an adult watching it, I think there were, you know, the poop jokes and, you know, fart jokes and kind of things that, you know, little kids and Deadpool fans seem to think is the height of humor. That's fine and dandy. It's a kid's movie. You got to expect that. Really, I think if I had any objection to this movie, bizarrely, I think it's in the casting. I think the movie is generally very well cast. You know, John Krasinski is Superman. Keanu Reeves is Batman, which is fucking awesome. How come that hasn't happened in live action yet? Keanu Reeves as Batman, I want to see that. You can take my money now. You know, Olivia Wilde as Lois Lane. I mean, they got a good cast. And of course, the unofficial comedy team of Johnson and Hart, which you might not like either one of them or how many movies they're in, but you got to admit that they work well together and they have good chemistry, and it comes across even in voice performances. I think they did a nice job, but I just didn't feel like Dwayne Johnson was the right casting for Krypto the Superdog, especially when you look at the character model, because the character model just looks really goofy and innocent and, you know, very kind, you know, very dog-like, you know, blah, 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 fun, fun, fun. And Dwayne Johnson's voice is a little too sure of himself for that. You know, I know what they were going for, especially since one of the huge arcs in this movie is the Krypto having to deal with not having his powers for the first time and having to learn how to do things as a real dog. So I get that they kind of thought, you know, someone with that big, you know, confident voice kind of being brought low would work for that, but I don't know. The character model and the voice never seemed to line up. Ironically, I honestly think that The Rock should have been playing Lex Luthor. And again, I want to see The Rock play Lex Luthor in live action. I mean, come on. How perfect of casting is that? It's so good. Come on, folks. Get into it here. But that was kind of my only real objection to this movie. Everything else, and I know I just went off on this huge rant in the last review about how the script was exactly the same. The rest of it is fairly boilerplate kids movie stuff. I guess the only other objection I might have to it is they spent a lot of time swiping at Marvel, kind of making fun of it, and it kind of feels the same way it does when, and I love AEW, when AEW takes a swipe at WWE, it feels like you're really trying to punch up, and you're really trying to show, oh, we're not worried about them, we're going to make fun of them, ha ha ha, and it just comes off looking petty and sad. The only thing that they do, and again, this doesn't work really well in the film, is they make fun of the fact that, of course, Batman is dark and brooding. They do the exact same thing that the Lego Batman did, only it did it better. Instead of, again, ever bringing up the fact that, hey, you remember the last 2 times Superman was in the movies and how he fucking snapped a guy's neck for no reason? How about talk about, if you're gonna do this, maybe use it as a little bit more than just pointing out the obvious and trying to make it look like you're not scared shitless of your direct competitor, because otherwise it's just coming off hollow, guys. Minor quibbles. The animation is good, the story is fun, the characters are enjoyable, and the action scenes were creative and inventive. I really had a good time. I thought Kate McKinnon as the evil guinea pig was a lot of fun. It was a good, fun, enjoyable romp. And again, I got the same feeling that I got when I watched the original George Reeves Superman show, or when I watch the original Christopher Reeves Superman movie, or when I watch the Batman, the Adam West Batman, or the Linda Carter Wonder Woman. That same sense of this is so fun and corny, and I love it. And I miss that in my DC superheroes. I like DC. They have good characters. I just wish they weren't so freaking sad all the time. Yeah. Again, getting off on a rant. So let's wrap this up, because there's just not much more to talk about in this one. So, final grade for the League of Super Pets. I'm going to go a B+ on this one. I'm going to go a B+. Yeah, I had a good time. Didn't think I would, and that's always a great thing. And very uplifting. I enjoyed this one. And if you watch it, if you're a DC fan, or you're a superhero movie fan, or you have kids, I think they're going to love this one. So, go check it out, enjoy it, laugh, and have a good time. So, there you are. There it is. It's great to review an uplifting DC movie. It's been a while. So, anyway, I stopped taking swipes at them. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Sorry about the glare. As always, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.